And you've come to me because of what?
Fear of needles. Big fear of needles.
Fear of needles. And how long have you had this?
My whole life.
Your whole life. Okay. Is it any kind of needle? Like, for example, let's say I took some needles like this and brought them over to you. Do any of these cause any kind of reaction in you?
Yes.
Could you hold one?
I can hold it to the tip, but it's the worst part.
Which way would you hold it?
The tip's the worst part.
Oh, okay. Can you hold this end? Okay, now, let me ask you a question. If 0 means that you feel fine and 10 is about the worst your anxiety would be over it, what number would you give to your feeling right now?
A 6.
About a 6. Okay, now, can you touch a little closer to the tip?
That's about all I do.
Does it go up any further than a 6, I mean?
The more further I get.
Okay, what number are you at now?
An 8.
About an 8. Okay. But if I were to go like this, does it go up higher than an 8?
10.
Goes up to a 10. Okay. Okay, Derrick, have you ever had to have Novocaine from a dentist? And how did that go for you?
In the mouth, the Novocaine wasn't so bad, I think, because I had gas and wasn't thinking as much.
Oh, you had like nitrous oxide first?
Also.
Oh, so you weren't really aware that the dentist was using a needle at the time?
Correct.
Or when he was using it? Okay. Have you ever had to have blood drawn?
Yes.
And
Every time I have a blood drawn, though, I actually pass out before they can draw the blood.
oh, goodness.
Just 'cause I
Okay,
have this
what do they, last time you had blood drawn, what arm did they use?
This one.
Okay. Now, if we were to hold a needle like this, and if you were to imagine that we were going to draw blood today, you know, imagine there's a nurse here and she were getting ready to draw blood. 0 to 10, how high is your anxiety?
Usually jumps to 8 when I see it in sight. Thinking about it, it's already a 5, but when I see it, it jumps up.
Okay. What is it now from getting ready to take blood out of that arm?
It gets pretty close to 10.
At 10, okay. All right. I want you to do this. You're right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay. I want you to hold your left hand up like this. I want you to take these 2 fingers right here, and I want you to tap on here continuously, just like this, okay? It'll feel like this. Yeah, I want you to keep doing that. And just say the following words. Even though I have this fear of needles,
Even though I have this fear of needles,
I deeply love and accept myself.
I deeply love and accept myself.
Even though I have this fear of having blood drawn with a needle,
Even though I have this fear of having blood drawn with this needle,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though I have this fear of needles of any kind,
Even though I have this fear of needles of any kind,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Good. Now, with these 2 fingers, I want you to go up to the top of your head, right here. Yeah. And I want you to tap like this about 7 or 8 times and say, this fear. Just say, this fear.
This fear.
Now, I want you to think about the needles, okay? This fear. Now, go to your eyebrow where it meets the bridge of your nose, right here, and tap like this about 7 or 8 times and say, this fear.
This fear.
Good. Now, the side of your eye, right there. Tap right there and say, this fear.
This fear.
And you're thinking about the fear of needles, right? Now, under your eye, where that little orbital bone is, a little round bone, right in the center of that bone, tap on there and say, this fear.
This fear.
Tap a little bit more. Good. Now, right under your nose, this fear.
This fear.
Good. Now, under this lip right here, right in the middle of your chin, right, say, this fear.
This fear.
Good. Now, make a fist. And feel your collarbones, like right here, okay? Make a fist and tap right there. Go. This fear.
This fear.
Good. Now, under your arm, about 4 inches down from your underarm, right here on your side, say, this fear.
This fear.
Good. Now, we're going to do that same thing again. Go up to the top of your head and say, this fear of needles.
This fear of needles.
Go to your eyebrow here. This fear of needles.
This fear of needles.
Go to the side of your eye. This fear of needles. Okay,
This fear
Derrick,
of
we've
needles.
done some tapping on your fear of needles. So I want you to think about the needles that seemed the worst to you. You said they were long upholstery needles. What are you feeling like now?
It's not as affecting me as much.
Okay.
Stomach's not so tight.
And what would you say, 0 to 10? What number does it feel like?
1 or 2.
Okay. Before, you held this needle and you were able to just hold it by the bottom. So go ahead and do that again. Now, see how far up you can hold the needle. Can you hold it up by the point? Ah. And what if you were to touch your skin with the point of the needle?
It's not as sharp.
Okay, touch the back of your hand with it. Now, if you were going to have a blood test with that needle, what does it feel like?
Pretty calm.
Pretty calm. Well, isn't that great? Does that seem strange to you?
I don't touch the tips of needles.
Say it again.
I don't touch the tips of needles.
You don't?
Not so sharp.
But you just did, didn't you? Okay, got it. Okay, so I'd like you to go ahead and hold that needle again. And go ahead and see if you can touch the tip of it.
That's cool.
Have you ever been able to do that before?
Never touch the tip of the needle.
Never.
Never.
All right, go ahead and touch the back of your hand with it.
Wow.
Does that give you any feeling of fear?
No.
Now, you said before that even thinking about sewing on a button would cause you to be anxious. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have you put that needle through this piece of paper and let me know what that feels like.
It's cool.
No problem?
No.